Hi, I'm Annie Botticelli, and welcome to my August 2019 horoscope report for you. It is my intention with this video to give you the things that I think you need to know to help you make this the best month possible and learn some astrology while you're at it. Definitely go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, and see all of the resources I have there, including amazing new and full moon blogs to assist you in maximizing those power periods we have every month. If you are into how I teach and you want to learn for personal or professional purposes, check out my astrology apprenticeship program, also on my website, anniehelpsyou.com. Go to radicalprayerbook.com to see my new book, which is an Amazon bestseller, Radical Prayer, Transform Your Life and the World in 28 Days, which has become a beloved favorite of my fellow spiritual seekers. So what's in the stars for you this month? I'm going to go into lots of details, so let's check them out now. Hello Virgo friends, welcome to my August 2019 horoscope report for you. We have an amazing month with 2 new moons, including a new moon in your sign. We have planets starting to move into Virgo, which is always a very exciting time because it starts to become all about you. We also have birthdays starting for some of you and the movement of the sun over your rising or moon, if Virgo is your rising or moon. So rebirth, regeneration, and all kinds of goodies going along with that. We have Jupiter going direct. So in certain areas of your life that had been starting to be expanded by Jupiter before it went in retrograde, may have stalled out or may have rolled into the backdrop a little bit, but those things are going to start moving forward in a huge way. We've got a massive amount of happy surprise energy this month. The heaviness of the eclipses and the water energy of July and the Mercury retrograde cloak and the retrograde in the water sign. The intensity of July is just fizzling out into this brilliant Leo, sizzling creative energy. And amazing aspects this month. Way more amazing aspects than mischievous ones, just a couple, and we'll talk about where those will be and what areas of life for Virgo specifically the mischief may show up. And also we'll look at where the sweet aspects are and what that can look like. And there are so many, and they're coming from different directions, and they're encompassing multiple areas in your chart. So we're going to talk about all of that. And then I have a special drop-in lesson about how to transcend negative astrological wiring. Because if you have been feeling like you're a slave to the stars and you're wondering what the heck is going on and what you can do about it, then that lesson is for you. Then I will come back on the screen and I will tell you my favorite dates of the month, and there are a lot of them, and I'll break them down into short and long-term important ventures and decisions. So that you can synchronize your movement this month. Lots of potential for movement, lots of potential for breaking free and having lots of new energy, but there are also some other things to look out for. So we're going to look at all of it now. Okay, so we're going to get into all the juicy details about August for Virgos. Many of the things we talk about will be true for all Virgo placements, but there are definitely going to be things that are going to be different depending on where in the Virgo spectrum you were born. So early Virgos are basically our August born or 0 to 9 degrees. Middle, September 1st through 10th or 10 to 19 degrees. And late, September 11th through the rest of the sign or 20 to 29 degrees. And if your moon is in Virgo or your rising is in Virgo, then this is also for you. Just as much so if it were your sun. Okay, so this is a very exciting time of year for Virgos because it is the beginning of the birthday season and the beginning of when the planets are going to be moving into Virgo, which is going to take take a lot of focus and put it on you. We also have that Virgo new moon at the very end of the month. So there's just a lot of energy. Actually, did I just say Virgo full moon, Virgo new moon? Hopefully I said new moon. So anyway, it's Virgo time. And this period of time is also a really fun time to watch the difference in the charts with the early, middle, and late degree placements as it relates to the phenomena of the crowding of the 12th house before its birthday time. Now, as I'm referring to birthday time, I'm also meaning for you Virgos with Virgo rising or moon in Virgo, when the sun crosses over either the ascendant for your solar chart for you sun in Virgos, or this ascendant, if Virgo is your rising or if your moon is here. This is a time of rebirth and regeneration that has a very similar energy to a birthday time. So there are a lot of similar energies here. So for those of you who have birthdays in this month, and for the rest of you it's coming soon, it's our little birthday tutorial. When the sun in the sky moves around, takes a year to get around, goes back to the same point in the chart that it was at when you were born. This is called a solar return. The sun returns back. And a solar return is a birthday. And you get birthday wishes. And because the sun in the chart represents desire and want, that's the energy of the sun, then your desires have more force, a portal open for your desires to be, to come to pass, which is what birthday wishes are based on. So if you do a search for Annie making wishes come true, you'll find my video called Making Wishes Come True, which help you to align manifestation on, astrological power periods. So definitely make your wishes, feel them as if they're already true. Write them down, say them out loud, feel them as if they're coming true. So, early Virgos, you're going to have that sooner than middle and late. And what happens before birthday time is the crowding of the 12th house. So you can see right from the beginning of the month, early degrees, you have a crowded 12th house. Whereas you middle degrees, starting at the beginning of the month, your 12th house is just starting. But these planets are going to move in there throughout this month. And by the time we get to the end of the month, you're going to have a full 12th house. Now, you late degree placements, you can see that that movement of the planets into the 12th house for you hasn't started yet. Okay, so this is going to start this month, and you will start to feel the things that we're about to talk about this month. But it's going to progress as the month goes on, and as we get into the time before your actual birthday, then you will start to have the full 12th house. The full 12th house is the time when your unconscious mind is rip-roaring. So, fears, anxiety, overwhelm are very, very, very common at this time because this is the 12th house of your subconscious mind. So if you imagine, I always talk about these planets as having personalities. They're like people. And the energy of the planet is the personality of the energy that's coming into the party. And then the house is the place where the party is, or the gathering, or the function, or whatever it is. So there's a function in your 12th house, and all of these personality pieces are coming there. So you've got the energy of the sun in your 12th house, which is lighting up the darkness. So it's normal, it's set up this way before you have a chance for wishing and for rebirth, to have the things that you don't want and the things that are standing in the way of the things you do want to be crowded into your consciousness. So the light comes on from the sun being there. It's like a light in a dark attic. And in there you can find yucky stuff. Okay, so that's part of why people don't feel very good. There's yucky stuff in there. There's ancestral stuff. There's childhood programming. There's fears. There's addictions. There's just yucky stuff in there. And the light is shining on it, so you can see it more, and it doesn't feel good, so you want to try to avoid it. Most people do, right? I'm not saying that's the best way. I'm just saying that if you get into avoidance behaviors before your birthday in the name of starting to party early, which is what people tend to do, it's so that you can avoid what this feeling is here. But you can also find riches, so you could find a treasure chest of riches with gold in there. And sometimes this manifests quite literally, like you find something of value in your attic. It was an heirloom or something, or at a thrift store, or, somewhere, like you're finding riches in the darkness. But this is really very specific also to your inner world. So the more you can do inner work where you're present with it and you turn it into gold instead of just avoiding it, the more you're going to be set up for your wishes and making them come true. But if you ever wondered why you might get a little anxious before your birthday, it's because the crowding of these energies in the 12th house. It's very eye-opening. This can also come with a desire to be more private. You might get more overwhelmed. You might feel more sensitive to things. It can lend itself to clandestine love, or things going on in the backdrop, secrets, or you working in the backdrop before you bring something out. The birthday, or the coming over from the sun over your Virgo placement, is the big, coming out party. It's where you bring it out. But this time now is to do things under, a little bit more behind closed doors. Now, it's interesting because how this manifests for Virgo at this time, because in general, Leo energies are like, woo, really loud, zesty, and out there, So it's like, while the energy in the cosmos is saying, hey, out and do everything and everything's happening, especially you early and some of you middle, you're going to be feeling for pretty much all the month. And then as the month progresses, the later you'll feel this way, where it's like, okay, yay, all right, now I'm tired. Now I want to be by myself and leave me alone. So you can prevent overwhelm by just taking your quiet time and not planning too much. Okay, so something else that is, well, actually the thing that's the main focus for me for the horoscopes this month that I want to share with you is this energy of happy surprises and where you all have this increased chance of having happy surprises in your chart. But along with those very sweet and very numerous potentials for sweet surprises, there are two that are a little mischievous. So let's talk about the two first and get them out of the way because they're annoying, right? And then we can get on to more of the good stuff. So when the planet Uranus is involved, there are surprises. And so you've been hearing me talk about surprises for many months, and that's because the eclipses bring surprises. And we are still in eclipse season, and you can get challenging news or big news or heaviness that come from the eclipses that were in July. And even though this period of time is so much lighter, it doesn't have the water energy. We don't have the Mercury retrograde energy. We don't have, or as strong, and we don't, we're not in the eclipse time. But big news can be coming in, but Uranus brings surprises too. So we just have multiple months of just the energy of surprise being our norm. And right here at the beginning of the month on August 2nd, Venus, which rules love, beauty, and money, is going to be in discord with Uranus. That usually means a jolt or an unhappy, unwelcome surprise. Okay, so August 2nd, Venus is going to do that. Then around the 16th of August, Mercury is going to do that. So news, information, experiences, jolts in love, jolts in money. But remember that because Uranus is a volatile but also fleeting energy, that's helpful with these things, and it's combining with fast-moving planets. That will usually mean that the upset, no matter how zapped to your core you feel at the moment, the upsets will probably be short-lived and hopefully of no long-term consequence, unless they're coming from the eclipses, which could be different. But if it's purely from this Uranus transit, they're just like, whoa, that zapped me. Okay, we're going to get through it. Shake it off, shake it off. And because there are so many sweet aspects with Uranus and Jupiter this month, the chance for resolution from any bobble that occurred is massively expanded. All right, so now we can get on to the good stuff. So the first thing I want to talk about is the aspects with Jupiter. So Mercury, Venus, and the Sun are going to cross over the 14-degree Leo point. And when they do, they're going to make an exact trine with Jupiter that's going to be hanging out at 14 degrees for most of the month. The other thing to note is that Jupiter is going to be direct as of August 11th. And this is huge because things that were stalled out for you or that, started to kick up but then went in the backdrop or that weren't gelling quite how you wanted them to, when Jupiter goes direct, a lot of those things can start to take shape and show up in a big way. So for early and most middle, you're going to see some of those happy surprises and those potentials come up in the house of houses and homes. And for those of you who are doing home-related things, like you have a home-related business or working with people's houses or you work from home, this can also apply to your business, even though it wouldn't technically be like a business or work house. So expansion in anything home and family related and happy surprises in anything home and family related are more likely, especially for early and middle. Your later degree placements, you can see Jupiter has dropped back into the third house for you all. You haven't really had your heyday of fourth house energy yet. You did have whispers of this because when Jupiter was, before it went retrograde, it got very close here and started to whisper. But then when it went retrograde, it just dropped back away from it. So any home or house related things, those are more likely to gel for you as the year, as towards the end of the year. And right now, communication, writing, researching, cars, devices, things like that, those might be where you see your happy surprises. So if you need a new vehicle, if you need a new upgraded device, you may see that that comes in a magical way. And if you have to buy it purposely, I like August 7th or 8th through the rest of the month. But especially the second half for longer term purchases. But if you can't wait, or it just happens to gel around the end of the first week, there's some pretty sweet energy there for it. So you might see your magical surprise come up with more mobility or upgrades to your mobility, or more communication or upgrades to your communication, or expanse and forward movement in your communication or writing, editing, research projects. Looking at the other end of the aspects. So we talked about what the 4th and 3rd house piece of that could look like, but the planets that are coming and doing the combining, that's going to happen for you early degree placements in the 12th house. And let's see, some of you middle degree placements, you will also have that energy in the 12th house. So that means for early and middle, spiritual breakthroughs, overcoming addictions, overcoming anxiety, psychological healing is more likely. Having a breakthrough, finding a perfect practitioner, finding a supplement or a medication that works for you if you have any issues with your mind space, or finding a tool or resource that helps you to really cut down on the anxiety. Many Virgo people are worriers, and their mind space is super busy, and that can lend itself to depression and other mental afflictions. So looking for tools that help you to keep your mind space clear. I'd say meditation, because obviously that's a very, very important tool, but many Virgos worry so much and their mind is so whacked out that they can't even meditate. So to suggest meditation would be purposeless for some of y'all. So for you all in that situation, and even for the other ones who can meditate, if you don't have the book Marriage of Spirit, if you just put Marriage of Spirit in Amazon, it's like a $20 book. You might find it used for $15 or something. Definitely get it and use the exercises in section 2. They're writing exercises, but they're spiritual in nature. And I have seen when people who have this Virgo worrying mental thing that goes on, you can pay $20 for the book and it can be therapy for the rest of your life. And if you can stay consistent with, instead of going in the worrying spiral, using those exercises, you can actually have freedom. Freedom in your mind, freedom in your life. Huge. So something like that, a resource like that, could be the happy surprise or the breakthrough that occurs from the happy aspects this month. Some middle and all of you late degree placements, you're going to have that energy in the 11th house. So this has to do more with networking, happy surprises and networking, meeting that key person who can get you where you need to be, a key acquaintance, some social media awesomeness. If you're looking to launch a website or looking to launch social media or doing anything internet-based or technology-based, August is amazing for launches. And after I go into, finish with the charts here, I'm going to drop in a lesson. And then after the lesson, you'll see me back on the screen. And I will give you the amazing dates that I love. And I'll list the ones that are more like shorter-term launches or projects, and the ones that are longer term. So if you have to do something important like that, you can sync it with these beautiful aspects. And, blogs, anything where you're sharing information, this could be amazing for you. Total breakout month. If you're looking to get a gig with a corporation or a big company or a humanitarian effort, organization like that, you might get a wonderful piece of news about that. So with all of this awesomeness, you would think that that's it, but it's not, because also this month, even though we talked about those challenges with Uranus, when these planets get into Virgo, as they're going to start to do in the beginning of month, not all of them, but as the ones that are getting into Virgo are starting, they're going to start at the end of August. And when they do, when they get to that 6 degree point, Uranus is going to be chilling at 6 degrees the whole month, then they're going to make a trine with the Virgo placements. So for you middle and late degree placements, the happy surprises in the 12th house that might not have been as, likely because these aspects were dropped drop back with the Jupiter one. These aspects bring those transformational breakthroughs that I talked about, like with the marriage of spirit and psychological breakthroughs and healing and addictions, bring those possibilities. Major spiritual awakening and breakthroughs are more likely with these transits. So they could come spontaneously. They could come through, quote, chance or synchronicity. But if you are a person who's a spiritual seeker and you're like, okay, I'm going to get to the bottom of the causal root of this issue, and you put effort towards it, like with hypnosis and subliminal programming and past life regression and psychotherapy, things like that, it will facilitate, like give the universe more to fill in for that potential for you. Rest and retreat also can show up in a big way there. Now for you early degree placements, this series of trines when it gets to 6 degrees of Virgo, that's going to be either in or close enough to your first house to possibly see it there. So this can be massive recognition, a breakthrough with what it is you're here to do, a breakthrough with your branding. If you have to do branding or rebranding, I love this month for that, especially towards the end of the month when you have these aspects with Uranus. And then this is, flavoring your first house. This can be a health, like a physical health breakthrough. The 12th house is like the mental, it's interesting to break it up this way because mental health and physical health are pretty much synonymous. And we have psychosomatic manifestations that turn into physical things. So obviously there's a body-mind relationship. But in the chart, this first house is, the physicality, the physical body. So in this 12th house, the 12th house is more the mind. So you could see breakthroughs also with weight loss or, body image or exercise routines or something like that. So the surprises and breakthroughs could come there. For the earlier degree placements, the energy of publishing, speaking, teaching, writing, long distance and international travel are more likely as well. So you might see those happy surprises come there. Perfect teaching program, perfect learning program, perfect chance to go to a different country or be immersed in culture. For the middle and late degree placements, when those Uranus aspects are happening with Virgo, the beautiful ones, those are accentuating your 8th house. So this can have to do with inheritances, shared money, winnings, winning money, surprise, winning money, somebody gifting you something, capital funding. This could be getting a loan or a refinance or access to student financial aid or anything like that. And this house is also a spiritual breakthrough house. So there's just a massive chance for you to break on to the next level. And speaking of which, the next thing I'm going to do, and hopefully it will really inspire you with a lot of hope, is to talk about breaking out of negative astrological programming. So I have a drop-in lesson about this topic of how we break free from our ancestry, our ancestral patterns and other wiring, and so breaking out of these unconscious patterns that are directing our lives, just basically changing them so we change our lives. So you're going to see that lesson. Then I'm going to come back on the screen and I'll give you those sweet dates that you can align your efforts with in August to make everything go further. Okay, welcome to my special section on transcending negative astrological patterning. This has been a focus of mine for the entire time I've been doing astrology, which has been almost 2 decades now. I have always gone into astrology as a self-development tool, understanding what's going on so that we can use the information to create the best experience from it. Now, the more you follow astrology and you start to see the amount of things that are true that you can see in there, both from your wiring and the things occurring in the stars, then some people will start to get a fatalistic attitude towards it and think, wow, since all of that's in there, I must be doomed to continue experiencing that. And for many people and in many instances, that is actually occurring if you are not actively clearing the negative astrological patterning. There are a lot of there's a very complicated discussion as to what it is we bring in with us astrologically and where those pieces come from. But for this discussion, I'm going to focus on strictly the genes, the DNA, the genetics, okay? So this has to do with our ancestry, our bloodline, and things we pull in genetically. Now, we don't just pull in medical issues genetically. We don't just pull in how we look genetically. I believe that we pull in belief systems, and as we are imprinted with these potentials in the genes, we are then in a situation where nurture, our environment, can help to express those potentials or help to express different potentials. So, if you're feeling trapped in something that has been a pattern in your life, whether or not you also notice that that was a pattern in your genealogy, there are ways that you can get the better end of that. If there's something awesome programmed in, like you're a math wizard or an artistic genius, then yeah, we want to keep that, right? But we're talking about the negative astrological patterning, these belief systems that are creating our reality, a lot of times completely out of our awareness. And even when you start to become aware that it's in there and you're creating from it, the task of clearing it up is, very rigorous self-development. But it can be done. Those subconscious programs have to be dealt with because those are creating the environment for your cells, for your DNA to actually express. So I want to talk about a scientist. His name is Bruce Lipton. He's a stem cell biologist. You can find Bruce Lipton on YouTube. You can get his book, The Biology of Belief. Okay, this is landmark stuff here. And it directly relates to astrology because astrology shows us genetics, basically, that we come in with. And I'm seeing this more and more all the time. All kinds of genetic issues and genetic tendencies are being carried over. You can see them in the chart. Okay, so the biology of belief, you can find that to go deeper into this. But basically what happened, okay, so I'll give you the story of what's gone on because this is going to help empower you with the goal of transcending negative astrological patterning to understand this from a scientific perspective. Okay, so the basis of the biology of belief is that genes do not control life. Okay, that's a big bomb, right? Big bomb. So when Bruce Lipton was doing experiments that brought this epiphany, he was going into a cell and removing the structure called the nucleus. Okay, so the nucleus is the structure that contains the genes. So if genes control life and you throw away the nucleus, then there shouldn't be anything to control life in the cell, right? Okay, so he explains that there's a joke that the cells can live for 2.5 more months with no genes at all, and they still carry out all of the complexities of life. Move around, eat, breathe, just they move through life. So then the first thing you have to ask is who's controlling the cells if it's not the genes, right? So this is a really big deal. Okay, so then the big boom for him came where he had, so basically he would put stem cells, isolate one stem cell and put it in a petri dish. Okay, then it would divide every 10 hours and after a few days he'd have thousands of cells. All right, so they're multiplying, they're dividing. So they all came from one cell, meaning they were genetically identical. So then he got to where there's like 10,000 cells in a petri dish, okay? Then he would separate out the cells into 3 petri dishes. Okay, so he takes them from there and he puts them in there. Okay, so now these are genetically identical cells. Okay, this is the thing to note. Then what he did is he changed the growth medium. Okay, so the liquid in there, he changed. He made, so the cells are identical, but he changed the growth medium. Okay, so that's basically the constituents of the environment. All right, so these red and orange and green pieces, or matter here, that is representing different environments. Same cells, genetically identical, different environments. So then what happened was, the first dish formed bone. The second dish formed muscle. And the third dish formed fat. All right, so hopefully you're getting this. This is clicking, because this is like, it's mind-boggling stuff. Identical. And then they formed all these completely different outcomes based on their environment. So what he is saying, and I concur, is that our environment is what is calling the shots. Now, of course, there are other factors, and we could nitpick and look at, and analyze, and nothing is as simple as one way, right? But this is a huge piece. So this means that if we change our inner environment and be mindful of our outer environment, we can start to change how the astrological potentials manifest for us in the form of our life and our experience. Okay, it's very exciting. Okay, so a basic summary is the environment includes a massive amount of factors, and we won't get into them all now. But included in the environment is our perceptions, which are shown when we look at the astrology. When we're looking at a chart, all of the different placements in there, different signs and houses, they're showing us a tendency towards perceptions. And even the outer transits, when they're happening in the sky, when planets are getting together, certain configurations, they tend to create us having a tendency towards certain perceptions. A perception might be we're excited, hopeful. A perception might be we're like a victim and there's a tyrant, so these different tendencies to have a perception, we can see those astrologically. So the tendency to have a certain perception is synonymous with karma. If we see something a certain way, we draw to us certain experiences. So basically, changing perceptions changes karma and changes the DNA expression, which changes potentials, which changes outcomes. So we can basically have more say in our lives by changing our perceptions. Seeing how the perceptions we have are creating our experiences. And sometimes they're deep inner, unconscious, subconscious perceptions, but you're having a certain perception because of the outcome. Like if you are having trouble with money, inside you have a perception that you can't earn money, that you, for whatever different reasons, if you have a perception inside that you can't trust partners, well, then you pull in people that aren't trustworthy, things like that. So pinpointing perceptions, which you can do very nicely with astrology, shifting the perceptions with tools, like I always, suggesting EFT and many other things, help to change those perceptions. And that changes the environment, which affects the whole cascade. It's very empowering. It does create a need for accountability, though. Like, our current circumstances are sourced within us and outside of us, but because that's part of the environment, but our inner environment, we can affect our perceptions, and then we can still change all of that. So you can see from all of this why I always talk about inner work and why I can't separate astrology from coaching or suggesting inner work and self-development, because how you experience the stars is going to depend on your perceptions. And if you want to have a better experience, you have to change the perceptions. Well, then you have to use the tools to change the perceptions. And that goes from a victim mentality to true empowerment, that we have the power. So you have the power. You have the power to change your life. You just have to be diligent, consistent with effective inner tools. I'm calling the theme of August 2019 for all signs, Happy Surprises Abound. This is one of my favorite months of the whole year for sweetness and magic and wonderful things. There are way more sweet aspects this month than there are salty ones. And in fact, we really only have 2 little troublemakers that I'm most concerned about, where everything else is just sweet. Now, do note that because we are so soon after the eclipses, that earth-shaking eclipse news can still be coming in from July, but they're not coming in from the aspects in August. Those are carryovers from these major events in July. If you haven't already watched my June and July reports, then definitely check that out, because there are pieces in there that are very relevant for this whole period of time. And in the June report, I go into the details about how each eclipse worked your sign individually. So I see those reports as a sister companion to this report as well. So this is a very unusual month. It's very rare that we have like at least 12 beautiful aspects and only 2 difficult ones. So we do have a couple of things to look out for. So I'm going to go into those things. The first thing we need to know is, besides the eclipse changes that are coming in and are starting to set foot, that's definitely still very current in August. If you had things come to you in July and you were holding off to officially sign or to officially put things into motion for the opportunities that came to you in July, I love the middle of August and after for that. There are some sweet days in the first half of August, but those are for more short-term contracts or ones of lower stakes. I am going to go into the dates that I love most for what here in a second, but just be aware that Mercury went direct right at the very end of July. So really at the beginning of August, we're very much covered in Mercury retrograde, and really until August 15th, there's, confusion or uncertainty or still ironing things out, or kind of like temporary or bridge agreement type of energies. But it is a good time to wrap things up, but a lot of new things are also going to be coming in. So that's exciting. So the whole month is definitely very sparkly with zesty Leo energy. And this is burning bright with creative potential. This is, a wonderful month full of the combination of zest from Leo and grounding Virgo. And whenever we have energy like that, it really helps us to be super productive, because there are so many potentials crackling around, but then we also have this, wherewithal and focus to do something about it. So it can really bring substance to that glowing creative potential. It's a truly magical time in the cosmos. So this is one of my favorite months of the whole year for taking big steps, for basking in glory of events that led up to come to fruition now. So basically for projects that have a shorter term intention, like a 6 to 9 month project, or something that is just a carryover of something you've been working on, August 7th, 8th, 11th, and 13th could be great for that. For the ones that you are doing like a major launch, big steps, life-changing decisions, long-term things, long-term commitments, my favorite dates are the 21st, the 26th, the 28th, the 30th, and the 31st. So you can also get a write-up of the dates, why I like the dates, what could happen around those times, and other things to look out for a month ahead in your inbox when you sign up for my free email newsletter. So when you go to AnnieHelpsYou.com, you will get my write-up a month before the actual month, so you can have a written version of my general transit report for you. Plus you get my 28-day virtual coaching program called Shine for free when you sign up for my free email newsletter. So you can check that out at AnnieHelpsYou.com. So drama and stress are more likely in the days around August 2nd and August 16th. Those are the only times where, now, like I said, not to say that drama can't come from something in your personal chart. Our personal chart is something that we can't really take into consideration when we're looking at horoscopes, because there are so many individual factors in your individual chart that we can't see in the horoscopes. But from the general horoscope perspective, it's very clear sailing. So I'm just going to point out the challenging ones. On August 2nd, we have this Venus in Leo squaring Uranus in Taurus. So even though the theme of this month is happy surprises abound based on all the sweet energy and also a lot of sweet aspects with Uranus, which is why I have the word surprise in there, because Uranus tends to bring surprises. When it's in a challenging aspect, sometimes those surprises are not welcome. And this August 2nd one could be unpleasant or jostling, especially in the areas of money or love or your certainty within yourself. So definitely also guard your physical body with extra care and walk with more awareness, okay? Because it's more likely that something will come flying from a window when you're walking, or, that you just have to pay more attention at this time and guard your physical body. And also just be aware that some bumps might come in the areas of love and beauty and money. The second one that, again, this is an aspect with Uranus. This energy is very much the energy of surprises. And if you've been watching my reports over the last few months, you'll notice I've been using the word surprise a lot. And that's because eclipses bring them in. Sometimes they bring in something that we've expected and hoped for. And in that way, it's not exactly a surprise, but when it actually comes to fruition, it kind of feels like a surprise. But then sometimes eclipses also bring in surprises where we're like, we don't really like that. But eclipses have a similar energy to the planet Uranus, and Uranus brings in just like things out of the blue, jolts to your nervous system. And sometimes those are happy jolts, like I said, when they're in sweet aspects. But when they're in these challenging ones, that's when you got to watch out. So we have two of those challenging ones this month, the first and the second. First one is on the 2nd of August, and the second is on August 16th. Now, since that one on August 16th is energetically combined with the full moon in Aquarius, that could be, even though it's a positive full moon in a lot of ways, and I love it for a lot of reasons, this combination of this other aspect being near it is a mixed bag, because you could have something sweet occurring at the same time as this surprise comes in. And since it's in Mercury, it rules news. It also rules mobility. So like being extra careful when walking and driving. And, this is the standard place where we warn, don't text and drive. Don't walk and text. Don't be on your bike texting. Things where your physical body really needs to be minded more, or other people's. This is a time where you don't want to push your luck. So shocking news and other events are more likely. I have seen this manifest as a pleasant surprise, even though it's a difficult angle, but one that brings either exhaustion or some sense of like overdoing, or like you're being challenged in the way that something surprise has come in, but now you have to make room for it in an otherwise also very busy schedule already. So I have seen it manifest that way. But everything else is just sweet, 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 sweet. So those are the things that are most on my mind for the general transits, is just a lot of sweetness. Definitely go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, sign up for my free email newsletter. You'll get to see more details about why I like those days that I listed, and what my why I think that they're amazing times for launches. So I go into like an itemized look at each day and each transit in that report. So if you love the way I teach and you want to learn astrology for personal or professional purposes, I can train you how to be a professional astrologer, and I can also assist you to just use it for yourself and your friends. You can check my program out, Astrology Apprenticeship Program, at anniehelpsyou.com. And if you like written horoscopes by me, you can go to cozybysweetstarlight.com. And a month early, I have up more simple, less detailed, but still very helpful, because they're written and they've got very important pieces. And a lot of times I talk about different things for your sign than I talk about in the videos. So they're complementary in that way. So you can check those things out. Look at my book, radicalprayerbook.com, or you can just search for Annie Botticelli, Radical Prayer on Amazon. My wonderful little book of prayers and affirmations to help you live in your highest expression. You can see that at radicalprayerbook.com. And check out my husband's website, B.R. Newman, I Am Helios, IAMHELIOS.com, where you can see all the goodies and the things that he's getting himself into now that will be very helpful for you as well. So I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.